Chelsea's transfer window drama, who's coming and who's not. The January transfer window is heating up at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea fans are buzzing with excitement. But with so many names being thrown around, it's getting harder to keep track of who the Blues are really after. Are we getting Xavi Simons? What about this Kenan Yildiz kid everyone's talking about? And why does Alejandro Garnacho keep popping up in the headlines? If you're feeling confused about Chelsea's transfer plans, you're not alone. Let's break down everything we know about the club's hunt for new attacking talent and separate the facts from the rumors. The main target, Xavi Simons. Let's start with the big one. Xavi Simons has been the talk of Chelsea Twitter for weeks now, and for good reason. The 22-year-old attacking midfielder has been lighting up European football, and it looks like Chelsea have made him their number one priority. Here's what we know so far: the personal terms are already sorted. That's huge news because it means Simons wants to come to Chelsea. The player has given his approval, which is often the hardest part of any transfer deal. When a player doesn't want to join, no amount of money can make it happen. So what's the hold-up? It's all about the transfer fee now. Chelsea and Simons' current club need to agree on how much money changes hands. This is where things can get tricky, but the fact that ESPN reported Chelsea were stepping up their pursuit suggests something big might be happening soon. Why do Chelsea want Simons so badly? Well, he's exactly the type of player they've been missing. He can create chances, score goals, and make things happen in the final third. At 22, he's also got his best years ahead of him, which fits perfectly with Chelsea's strategy of buying young, talented players. The question is, when will this deal get done? All signs point to it happening, but football transfers can be unpredictable. One day everything looks certain, the next day it falls apart over a few £1 million. The surprise name, Kenan Yildiz. Now here's where things get interesting. While everyone's been focused on Simons, reports have emerged that Chelsea have made a €65 million offer for Kenan Yildiz. Who is he, and why haven't we heard much about him before? Yildiz is a 20-year-old attacker who plays for Juventus. He's been making waves in Italian football and has even been getting call-ups for the Turkish national team. The kid has serious talent, and Chelsea scouts have clearly been watching. But here's the thing, Juventus don't want to sell. According to the reports, they have no intention of accepting Chelsea's offer. That's not surprising really. When you have a young, promising player, why would you want to let him go unless the offer is absolutely massive? This raises some questions though. Why are Chelsea going after another attacker when they're already close to signing Simons? Are they planning to bring in 2 new attacking players? Or is this just their backup plan in case the Simons deal falls through? It's also worth noting that the source of this story isn't the most reliable. Gazzetta dello Sport reported it, but they're not always accurate with transfer news. So we might want to take this one with a grain of salt until more trustworthy sources pick it up. The character question, Alejandro Garnacho. This is where things get really interesting. Alejandro Garnacho from Manchester United has been linked with Chelsea for weeks, but there's a twist in this story that makes it different from your typical transfer saga. Chelsea like Garnacho as a player. The data looks good, his profile fits what they want, and he's young enough to develop further. But they have concerns about his character, and they're doing their homework before making any move. What kind of character issues are we talking about? Well, there have been a few incidents. The most notable one was when Garnacho was substituted during a game and instead of staying on the bench to support his teammates, he walked straight down the tunnel. His manager had to address it in the press conference afterward, which is never a good sign. Now, every young player makes mistakes, and football can be an emotional game. But Chelsea are being extra careful because they've had issues with player attitudes in the past. They want to make sure they're bringing in players who will fit the culture they're trying to build. So what are they doing about it? They're conducting specific checks on Garnacho's character. They want to figure out if his behavior issues are because of problems at Manchester United or if they're just part of who he is as a person. This is actually quite smart from Chelsea. It's better to find out now than to sign a player and discover later that he doesn't have the right mentality. But it also shows that Garnacho isn't their first choice. If he was, they might be willing to take more of a risk. The priority list. Speaking of first choices, where does Garnacho rank on Chelsea's wish list? From what we're hearing, he's not at the top. Xavi Simons is clearly the number one target, and there's also Jamie Gittens from Borussia Dortmund who Chelsea were interested in earlier in the window. This makes sense when you think about it. Simons is more proven at the highest level, and Gittens has been impressing in the Bundesliga. Garnacho, while talented, has had a difficult season at Manchester United and comes with question marks about his attitude. But here's the interesting part, Chelsea haven't completely ruled out Garnacho. According to reports, he'll remain a target until they either sign Simons or decide they're done buying attackers. So if the Simons deal falls through, Garnacho could quickly become Plan B. The money problem. Even if Chelsea decide they want Garnacho and are happy with what they find out about his character, there's still another obstacle: money and squad space. The reports suggest that Chelsea need to sell Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku before they can bring in Garnacho. This makes sense because the club can't just keep adding players without getting rid of some first. Jackson has been linked with moves away from Chelsea, and there were even reports of a possible swap deal involving Garnacho. Nkunku, despite his talent, has struggled with injuries and hasn't had the impact Chelsea hoped for when they signed him. But selling players is often harder than buying them. Other clubs know you need to sell, so they might try to get a bargain. And players might not want to leave if they are happy at Chelsea. It's a complicated puzzle that the club needs to solve. What does this all mean? So where does this leave Chelsea fans? Well, it looks like the club is being smart about their transfer business. They have a clear number one target in Simons, they're exploring other options like Yildiz, and they're being careful about potential character issues with players like Garnacho. The fact that they are looking at multiple attackers suggests they know they need to strengthen in this area. Whether it's one player or two, Chelsea clearly want to add more firepower to their squad. But they're also being responsible about it. They're not just throwing money around hoping something sticks. They're doing proper research, considering character as well as ability, and making sure they can afford their targets. The waiting game. For Chelsea fans, this is both exciting and frustrating. Exciting because it looks like the club is serious about improving the squad. Frustrating because transfer windows always involve a lot of waiting and uncertainty. The Simons deal seems the most likely to happen, but even that's not guaranteed until he's holding up the Chelsea shirt. The Yildiz story might be true, or it might just be agent talk designed to get him a better contract at Juventus. As for Garnacho, he's an interesting option but clearly not the priority right now. What we do know is that Chelsea are active in the market and they're looking to add quality to their attack. Whether that's one player or several, whether it's the names we've mentioned or someone completely different, only time will tell. Final thoughts. Transfer windows are always full of surprises, and this one is no different. Chelsea fans should be encouraged by the fact that the club is being thorough in their approach. They're not just buying players based on highlights videos or social media hype. They're doing proper research and making sure any new signings will fit both on and off the pitch. The next few weeks will be crucial. If Chelsea can get the Simons deal over the line, it would be a massive statement of intent. If they can add another quality attacker on top of that, even better. But even if some of these deals don't happen, the fact that Chelsea are being linked with quality young players shows they're heading in the right direction. The club is building for the future, and that's something all Blues fans can get behind. What do you think about Chelsea's transfer strategy? Are you excited about the possibility of signing Simons? Would you take a chance on Garnacho despite the character concerns? Let us know your thoughts, and keep checking back for all the latest Chelsea transfer news.